Hello everyone and welcome back to the Build Off Challenge. We're back in Academia Nova and overlooking our little creek or aqueduct, whatever it was. I think it has now gotten a proper place in the community. There are a couple of things that we want to make sure we're doing in this round. First, we're gonna deal with some of our demand, just, you know, getting it up and running. And then, in addition, I see the water facility is overloaded. That is a good reminder to go into our services and crank this up to, I'm saying 70%. Alright, which is a shame because that very likely is gonna kill our income. But we'll see, might be fine. Alright, so deal with the demand, and then I think this waterfront needs a little bit more love as well, and more especially this corner right here, where I think we have a great opportunity to place some of our signature building and make this a proper destination. All right. If we then have the time, I think we also need to figure out how to deal with our growing garbage accumulation. So let's see how far we get. All right, let's first start by zoning. And lucky for us, we already have the right corner or everything like pre-zoned. So that looks good. And we're just gonna fill it up. For the medium density demand, I think it would be good to swap out some of this now for mixed use commercial, or mixed use residential, I guess it's technically called. And I think I'm gonna go for the German mixed housing, as I think it will actually look quite nice. I'm gonna start with this corner right here, replace all the corner shops, and that should completely wipe out our medium density. All right, low residential, low density demand gone, medium density demand gone, so overall looking good. I'm gonna remove the excess areas, buildable areas for our low residential, just so we keep a better eye on what people need, right? All right. We also do have some more low rent housing demand, but I think I'm gonna wait with that for a little while. Instead, we will try to focus on our signature building. So let's first have a look. There's one residential signature building that we already have, and it's the Vesuvius Palace, which, you know, it's an Italian build, so it kind of makes sense. And I think we're gonna place it in this corner right here. I think that will look quite nice, even though the buildings next to it are a little bit smaller. I still think it will do the trick for us. So here we go, and yep, I would say that actually looks really nice as a building. The doors are humongous. That's kind of fun to look at, and this will be replaced in the long run. All right, the mixed use housing has actually come in. Looks quite nice here. So I'm hoping that very quickly we can fill sort of these central areas on all sides and make that a proper like courtyard kind of place. But this, again, more future worries. All right, so let's have a look at the rest of our signature buildings. There we have quite a few in the commercial area, starting with a tea house, followed by a riverside grill, the espresso on the go, lobster tail, and a steakhouse. And there is a bookshop, which would be really nice to fit in somewhere. It won't fit in here, but we could even consider, I think it's actually huge. So this might need a much more dedicated place, and I'm not entirely sure where yet, so we're gonna skip it for now. Then we do have the gas stations, petroleum stations, if you might say, and then quite a few of the pubs in different variations that will that come from the UK expansion. All right. So let's focus on this corner right here then. I think it could be nice to have a little pub over this side. So let's go in here and try to find one that looks nice. Now there's relatively big space right here. And I think it would make sense to have one with some parking attached to it. If we place it like this, the parking wouldn't be quite accessible. But if we place it like that, there's just a wall basically facing our pedestrian zone. So I am going to place it like this. That little corner I think is good enough for people to drive in. It does have a little outdoor area. Appreciate. And overall, I think it fits the bill quite nicely over here. All right. So the next building that we're going to look at, and don't worry, we will decorate around that in a little bit. But the next building that I want to have a look at is let's actually have a look at the steakhouse. I get a feeling this won't actually quite fit into this area overall. We could place it. I forgot there's still a path over here, so let's remove that one. We could place it on this side. Make it the proper corner building that it is. If we place it over here, it doesn't want to snap appropriately, so let's manually do this. Because there's a little bit of outdoor seating, which I think will look quite nice. And then there's also something on the other side. So let's actually place it down right here. Now this looks a little bit intimidating. No, but overall actually quite nice. Because again, a little bit of places to sit here. Not great with the trash over here though. But overall, I would say not too bad. There's a little bit of wonkiness going on with the road, but we won't let that bother us. So for now, let's leave it here. Maybe later on we'll move it somewhere else. Then the next thing that we want to look at is the cafe, or like the tea house. Let me turn the snapping back on, and maybe we'll go ahead and actually place it all for now, so we can have a look what they all look like. Again, not the espresso to go. Wow, that thing is big. So that I don't think... Let's actually place it down for now. So this comes with parking. So I don't think it would actually be suitable along that pedestrian path. What we can do though is move it over this area. And for that we should do some grading. All right, so let's go ahead and remove some of the hilliness over here. And then we're also going to smooth it out again. There we go. Now let's see if that fits. And it kind of does. It conforms the rest with it as well. So here we go. We can't move it any closer. Wonder why. Let me try to not snap it to the road and see if we can't move it any closer to our pub. And indeed we can. So if that's the case, we're definitely gonna do that. There we go. Now this looks a little bit more like a proper combination of things. Right. Importantly, this building will also give us a little bit of a guideline of where our kind of small entertainment complex is going to go. Let's put in another pedestrian road for now. Because again, I kind of don't want cars to drive down this way, and we will connect this up in a little bit. Back to the special buildings, we have actually placed them all. The bookshop is still missing, but again, I don't think it would fit in here very well. We could place another pub. The Welsh pub, the Black Pig, modern suburban pub serving local area, providing a relaxed time with friends. It does have parking as well, so I don't think we will actually place it. So for now, I'm going to delete it again. All right, so we have 2 more buildings to kind of work with. Let's have a look at these. There's a little bit of outdoor seating, and I would like that outdoor seating to be towards the pedestrian area right here, which means we probably will need to put in another road to make sure the building is properly connected. There we go. So if we move it around here, maybe we'll leave a gap of 1 for some future landscaping and try to wiggle it into place. And now all we need to do is actually place a road that connects this up. So while I'm not a big fan of the one-way pedestrian road, apparently it's the only way you can get a small pedestrian street in that's connected all the way up to the end. And I think before we properly place this, hold on, you're fully connected, good. Before we properly place this, I think we need to sort out a way to put a little bridge over this side. Bear with me while I'm just doing this very quickly. All right, here we go. So we do have a bridge in there. Should probably actually give this side a little bit more space to breathe. And I think that looks still very nice. All right, so now the tea house also has some seating, which means if we were to continue a path from here on out, we will be able to face the seating down onto the pedestrian road. That we can later on landscape a little bit more. So overall, this will be what we can work with. I have a little bit of a pedestrian area right here, but obviously that won't be all. I think it is time that we also place another park. Maybe something a little bit bigger, hilly playground. That could be quite nice for kids in this area. So let's actually place it right next to the cafe. So it's very bright. So imagine parents could go sit here or even have some kind of a coffee or tea. I guess it's a tea house. And then the kids can play in this corner right there. Let's have a look at our facilities that we could also place in here. Color Plaza. That would also be a great amenity up here. Again, kind of another playground, but also like a basketball hoop or basketball court, a gym area, and a cafe. So it seems like it would perfectly fit the vibe of this area that we're currently building. So let's place it down. It does need more access. This gives us a good excuse to place a single road or a one-way road here. And instead of having this go straight, curve this into the other street just like that. And then we can remove this part. All right. So I think overall that looks quite nice, and we will do a little bit of detailing and landscaping later to make this a proper place to work at. Now, there's a fire going on. I'm hoping our city will be able to deal with it. We are having a bit of a traffic issue, and I think that is in part because of the pedestrian crossing right here. So let's deal with that as well by actually creating a pedestrian overpass. So I'm gonna go up 7.5 meters. That seems to be the magic number in City Skylines 2. And then we're just gonna bridge over on both sides. And now comes the tricky part. So bear with me while I try to connect this up. I think I will leave the bridge as that. I've tried to connect another path in the middle, but I think overall the bridge is too far in the center of this part. So the slope gets a little bit too steep, or it gets just super wonky. So let's not try to do that. We're gonna remove the road crossings over here, which hopefully should help overall our pedestrians walk across here. Or help our drivers basically get around here a little bit faster. So I'm hoping we're gonna keep this up. So there has been some accidents back here. I wonder if it was the fire that burned this down and our people just didn't get to it. Now, with the corner over there being done, it is time for us to actually, before I continue like this, let's have a look at this part right here, because we have a little bit more demand to put down more of our German housing. So let's see how this goes. They should fit in very nicely. Those might be a little bit too tall, but we'll see how that's gonna look like. Anyways, medium density demand and commercial demand kind of done. So now we need to focus on this part. And for that, we need to go into our development tree and unlock some of our garbage management. We could do the incinerator plant or the recycling center, or unlock these basically. The incinerator plant, it does process 3,000 tons per month, but it also costs 52,000. Whereas the others, they cost 40,000, but only process half of it. This also gives us electricity. Now, while I don't think there would be a incinerator plant on the island, I think without having outside connections, the rest is just going to be really tough. And those wind turbines, I don't see them holding for forever. Let's actually have a quick look. I think we should be able to see, maybe, yeah, definitely not in here. Electricity. We're currently producing, still in the green, not a ton extra, but we will need some stuff. So with an incinerator plant, we're kind of tackling both things at the same time, although I am a bit worried about the monthly costs. I wish they would either change this to monthly or convert the cost of the building into monthly, because right now I honestly don't know if I unlock this, if it's gonna ruin us or not. The big problem, however, is that our incinerator plant costs $1 million. The others cost 880,000. So, it's a tough choice. So I think while we are waiting to actually get some additional money, we're just gonna expand our landfill area a little bit more, hoping this will give us a bit more breathing. Not a ton, but a little bit. Okay. Still have more medium housing demand, even though these are about to fill in. Which means we could actually turn this around and move this into sort of the same mixed use areas. But then again, I don't know what this one is doing here all by itself. I see. The road is a little bit crooked here, so it doesn't actually have a spot. Great. Anyways, we're making money. That is good. We still need a bit more of everything. Of course we do. We could focus on parking, but again, that would also just cost us more money and also monthly upkeep. It would help with some of the street side parking. And in the long run, I think we actually need to upgrade this road. It will get very, very busy. I'm pretty sure of it. All right. In the meantime, like I mentioned before, that has now filled in. I actually don't hate that part in the middle. All right, so we're gonna do the exact same thing with this commercial area. Actually, right here. All right, so we're gonna unzone or basically remove all the corner shops that we had so far and put in our German mixed residential commercial. All right, that did not quite work. So we had 2 on each side and then our corner shops just like that. They filled in immediately. And overall, I think it is gonna look very nice. All right, what else can we do in order to deal with our money issues? I guess when it comes to taxation, we have adjusted this already. Let's actually look at our happiness. The high crime rate is an issue. So I think we need to move our... Oh, police is actually on the highest level, which means they're just not cutting it anymore. We could add 8 patrol cars for 9,000 a month, or build another police station. I guess this area is overall fine. Crime probability is pretty high over here and pretty high over this way, but we don't actually have any police out here. So putting a police station somewhere in this vicinity might actually be quite good. And the upkeep is also only another 11 grand a month. So let's actually do that. We're gonna replace one of our industry buildings, and I'm trying to make sure it is only one, and put it right in the center of our industrial area for protection. Why did you die? All right, apparently you died as well. So we're now waiting. Immediately spawns back in. Police station is in here, which maybe not a great sight for them, but overall it will be doing just okay. All right, another fire. That's actually, my crime rate is still an issue, but let's actually, with our demand, zone in a bit more of our mixed use housing. And we're gonna place it just like we did on the other side, but this time a little bit more intentional. All right. And that quenched another piece of our demand. However, we have spent a good amount of money on the new police station, meaning we'll be in a bit of trouble when it comes to our garbage issues. Not issues yet, but there will be issues soon. So in the meantime, actually our demand is crawling up again. So it is probably time to replace the next one as well. But I think kind of a few nice like corner shops in the sense with some housing on top actually makes a lot of sense. And it helps a little bit with the flow of the density over here. So quite happy about that. But I do think we need to sort this out. Yes, we definitely do. So I'm gonna quickly pause. Do we actually have... Oh, here we go. Garbage processing is 28 tons when we're producing 188 tons per month. So there's a couple of things we could do in here if we place this, for example. However, that's only 20 tons per month more, which will not cut it, in all honesty. I think we need to take out a loan, even though that might completely kill us. So let's pause this and go ahead and take out a loan. We have basically nothing. We need $1 million for the incineration plant. If we take out $1 million, we're in pretty bad shape. 700,000 would bring us about equal, but that is not gonna be enough. So let's try to go ahead and do a little bit of the landscaping in advance after we zone in a few more buildings. No. I see what happened where there was no building that zoned in on the other side, because the zoning grid was wrong. Which makes me actually completely reconsider this part right here. We're gonna place a road in here and a road in there and sort of skip that middle building. Why are you only 2 deep? Don't tell me this is zoned along these. I wish they would just ultimately fix that. In all honesty, I don't understand why there is no zoning availability. Like where you can manually decide how deep your zones are gonna look like, or are gonna be like. Or which road the zoning is on, ultimately. Alright. We actually have a good amount more demand. So let's go ahead and replace this entire area. And I think it is time for us to beautifying our city. Alright. I wonder if we get XP from this. I don't think so. So what about trees, actually? I don't think so either. Interesting. So roads it would be. And I guess people being happy on zoning in. Population increased, city happiness increased. But this still leaves us pretty far away from getting into this area right here. We can't wait any longer though. So I guess one thing I could try is I increase the taxes a little bit. We're just gonna expand this a little bit more. I know this is a bit more reactive now. Much more reactive than I was hoping. But that again gave us a little bit more breathing room. And I think very soon we're at the next level. And that should help us, hopefully, make a little bit more leeway with all of that. We're actually going to start replacing this road now. There is a traffic jam now, like I anticipated before. So I'm gonna just shut up for a little while. And we'll chat after. All right, with that, we have fully connected this larger road and we have made it to Boomtown, which I'm very excited because I can close this and get another signature building. It's also very cool. But most importantly, we have additional money now, which will hopefully help us with getting our garbage situation a bit better under control. First, let's look at that signature building, and I'm hoping it kind of fits in here. There's obviously no guarantee, but let's give that a try. And it is way too big to fit in this little corner right next to the other. So I think instead we're placing it here, maybe actually along our main drag, or we could place it on this side. Alternatively, we still have that area over here that is almost untouched. So let's go ahead and actually place it in this corner since the zoning is a little bit messed up. So we can make good use of the area and then build stuff around it. There we go. And this will kind of grow in, but I think it's a nice building to actually also see from our pedestrian walk over here. So that is good. Does it actually? It does have a ton of households and apparently it's low density. Interesting. Did not expect that. All right. But the important thing that we really need to do is figure out our garbage situation. So let's go in here. And I think we're going to do the incineration plant. It is a little bit more upkeep per month, but again, we will run out of power soon. So I think this will help. And that is a no. All right, recycling center it is. Let's have a look. Oh, this is the wrong building. The regular recycling center is also pretty big. Does it have upgrades? Can be upgraded with garbage truck depot, a hazardous waste collection point, and an extended storage. We do have technically the Japanese one, which can't be upgraded, but it is much smaller. Maybe we'll get the Japanese one. All right, let's go into loans and get our painful 700 grand. That gives us enough money to place our recycling center in here. I want to have it face the landfill, and I want to make sure that the entrance is down street basically from the landfill, so they should be able to just go in and out relatively quickly. All right, the next thing we're gonna do in terms of services, garbage. Oh, it is at 50%. So yeah, we do now have enough processing capacity to deal with all of this, but we're also losing money. So I think it is time now to expand our commercial area. And in this case, we're actually building commercial because our medium density demand is not going up fast enough. So we're gonna utilize this strip here, put it, oh, that is all the German mixed use. Should go properly into the commercial area stuff. Mark all of this to be commercial buildings and mark all of this to be a commercial building. Now that will give us additional supply of commercial needs for our citizens that are living over there. And I'm pretty sure they would appreciate that. Next thing we kind of need to figure out, we're still bleeding money quite intensely. We need some more industry. because we have industry demand. One thing that we haven't looked at in a while is all of our specialty industry, and we could technically place this ore mining facility over here and have a smaller ore mining area down there, which would definitely help us. I don't know how realistic it is. Alternatively, we could go ahead and, well, since it's free, create a little plateau here and have our ore mining start to dig up that. And I think that's kind of what we're gonna do. So let's go in here, and I'm gonna do a little bit of landscaping, and I'll see you on the other side. All right, it is in, and apparently we've also solved our budget problems. Very nice. Right, there's still some random stuff here. I think those are remnants from the initial connection, so let me quickly just get rid. And with that, we have significantly expanded our city. Demand has come back. I'll do a little bit more zoning, and then we'll take a little bit of inventory and do a debrief. All right, and in all honesty, that is kind of it. So let's do a little bit more landscaping. All right, and I will actually stop right now. We have done a little bit of landscaping, make it a little bit better. So let's do a little bit debrief with more population, more happiness, and garbage taken care of. I think overall, we're doing pretty okay. So with that, we have a little bit more to do, but thank you all for watching, and I hope to see you next time. Bye bye.